Hey sports card collectors and investors, thanks for joining me again for another video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We are coming out daily with new sports card investing videos and would be happy to have you along for all of them. So yeah, if you haven't, please subscribe and we will go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to go over part two. So I already did part one last week was Hall of Fame basketball players vintage rookie cards. And so these are cards that, they're obviously not modern cards. Most of them are from the 60s, 70s time frame. But I wanted to offer it as just kind of, I haven't seen a lot of videos on vintage basketball cards, so I wanted to be able to provide some data and just kind of give you some ideas as to what these players are currently priced at as far as their rookie cards go in various PSA graded levels. And, these are ones that are kind of overlooked, but these are the guys that kind of paved the way for the Michael Jordans and the Magic Johnsons and the Zions, the Lukas, the LeBrons, etc. And so they're very interesting long-term holds, or, just with the way pricing has gone over the last 12 months, it's gone up fairly dramatically. So could be a flipping opportunity, but these are more probably long-term, type basketball card investments. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. The first guy I'm going to cover is the Big O, Oscar Robertson. This guy was the MJ of his time. He was very versatile. He was, as far as accomplishments go, he was an NBA champion in 1971. He was Rookie of the Year in 61 and a 12-time All-Star. So that gives you an idea of, how his resume looks. He's an all-time great. His rookie card is the 1961 Fleer set. I love this set, actually. Now that I'm covering these cards, just that 1961 Fleer set in general, just the way they look, just really like this set. So, and there's multiple Hall of Fame rookies that came out of this 61 Fleer set. We've covered some of them, and I'll have another one coming up here next too. And so, if you're looking at buying these, first off, the total pop report for PSA for all of these cards for Oscar Robertson's rookie, 790 that have been graded in total. So these are scarce cards, especially graded ones. I mean, maybe when you factor in raw, there's more options, but I think for investors, we're looking at graded cards for the most part when we're talking about vintage. And so 790 total. If you're looking at, so on the lower end, PSA 4, right at about $575 is what a recent sale looks like. If you move up to a PSA 7, they're going for $1,699. And then if you move into that near mint grade at PSA 8, $4,688.88 was one sale. And then we have another one at $5,489. So that's more on the higher end, but those are very rare at PSA 8. But to have a near mint card from 1961 is pretty incredible. And Oscar Robertson, is going to be one of those all-timers. You can't change it. He's a Hall of Famer through and through. So he was my first pick. For my second pick, sticking with the same set, 1961 Fleer, and it's the Elgin Baylor rookie card. This is one, it's less common on the PSA Pop Report than Oscar Robertson. He has got 499 total on the Pop Report for his 61 Fleer rookie. This guy was considered to be the best player that never won a title. He was an 11-time All-Star with the Lakers, went to the finals 8 times, never won a title. But just an all-around incredible player, obviously. And so for his cards, in a PSA 4, you're only, you're looking at $198.99. So the barrier to entry on one of his stuff, if you're looking at PSA 1 to 5, I guess I would say, 1 to 5, these are fairly low to get in on him if you can find them. And like I said, there's only 499 that have been graded in total for this card. So it's not as if there's a lot of any of these. PSA 7 is more obviously, but it's not insane. PSA 7, there's sales. There's a sale at $630. So yeah, they're not giving them away by any stretch. But I was actually kind of surprised at that high of a grade. Just how low that price was. It seems like a fairly good value if you're looking at that 1961 Fleer set, and this guy obviously all-time great Hall of Fame player. So that's my second pick, Elgin Baylor. Really like the look of this set. Next, I'm going with, it's an iconic basketball card. A lot of people know of it. It's a 1948 Bowman George Mikan rookie. And this is one that, especially, if you've been collecting or investing in sports cards over a long period of time, you know of this card, because I remember this card when I was a kid. I mean, I'm almost 40. Obviously, this card is way before my time, but I just remember it being talked about even back then. So, for this one, there's only been 296 total that have been graded by PSA, so very low pop report. A PSA 1 recently sold for $2,200. A PSA 3 sold for $3,725. So the scarcity shows here in the pricing. I mean, they're very expensive, but this is a guy, he was considered the first dominant big man in the league. Again, this is from the 40s, so this is going back. Even before the NBA, he won 7 NBA, NBC, and BAA titles. So this is before the NBA and or when there may have been multiple leagues. He's a 7-time champion. He was 6'10", so he was an imposing force back then. There wasn't a lot of guys at 6'10", so he was out of the ordinary back in 1948. And so just, an incredible career, and just one of those all-time, cards that you kind of wonder, is that going to be, some sort of like a Honus Wagner, like the baseball cards, although those are even more scarce for sure. But as far as basketball goes, when you're looking at really rare cards that are being invested in, this is one of those very rare cards. So it will be interesting to see, how that goes. But that was my next one, is that 1948 Bowman George Mikan. A cool card if you can get a hold of one. Lastly, I'm going to cover Pistol Pete Maravich's 1970 Topps rookie. This is a more common card. The total pop on this one is 2,216. So compared to some of these others, that's very high. But again, it's not high by today's standards and by any stretch of the imagination. Pistol Pete was considered, interesting guy. He wanted to be entertaining on the court. So not only did he want to be a fantastic dominant player, but he wanted to do it in an entertaining fashion, like a Harlem Globetrotter. He was a 5-time All-Star. I watched, I think it was a 30 for 30 on him, or some sort of ESPN special, and he was actually not, fairly introverted as far as outside of the court. He was one of those guys that didn't really get along great with teammates, and it's kind of just all about himself, is kind of how his image was portrayed. I don't know if that's what it was in real life, but it was interesting just to kind of read up on him. He was an interesting character for sure. His 1970 Topps cards are fairly reasonable, really. I mean, if you're looking just to get in, I saw a PSA 3.5 example at $195.06. If you move up to more of a PSA 6, you're at $504. PSA 8s are anywhere from $908 to $1,225. So that's really where that price bump comes, is that 8 near mint. And then if you go to a 9 mint, you're at $6,650 to $8,600. That's where the pricing really shoots up. But those are very scarce cards, and this is a very cool card. If you haven't seen it, it's one of those longer cards. It's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor's rookie. It's one of those longer type portrait cards. Really, really sweet. But anyway, so those are the 4 that I'm covering today. That was my part 2 of the NBA Hall of Fame player rookie cards. I love these cards, and these are ones that are always on my list. I do own one Pete Maravich rookie. Outside of that, I don't own any of these yet. But they're always going to be on the radar, and just kind of an interesting way to diversify if you're looking at that vintage era. Whereas I know a lot of us kind of focus on the modern stuff, which is great too, but can't sleep on these vintage cards, especially for long-term holds. So hey guys, thank you very much for tuning in again. I had fun with this one, and like I said, please subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be coming out with videos every day, as you've probably noticed if you follow us. And we will see you again soon. Thanks very much.